Thank you so much for joining in our yet another webinar, and we are continuing our series on dark funnel. So for everybody who has not watched part one, please go ahead and watch the part one video before you come and watch this one. For everybody who's tuning in just now, my name is Ritesh Osta, and I'm one of the top rated Fiverr Pro freelancer on the category of go-to-market strategy, account-based marketing, B2B marketing, and more. So without any further ado, let me just start with today's topic, which is what is dark funnel and how it affects B2B sales. This is part two. Okay, so in this series, what we have done is we have gone to different social media posts and Quora and Reddit threads, and we are trying to collect as many questions, as many viable questions as possible, and we are trying to answer those questions one by one. Okay, so this series is going to continue, and hopefully by the end of the series, you will know what this dark funnel is all about, and how it really affects, especially B2B sales. Okay, all right, let's get started. So what is dark funnel and where does it begin? Okay, so for everybody who is just tuning in now, how do you define the dark funnel in a B2B buyer's journey, and at what point does it actually begin? Okay, in order to understand what is dark funnel, quickly you need to understand what funnel is. So in a lingo of marketing, in a language of marketing, a funnel is basically the steps that a buyer takes within the journey, right? So if there are 100 visitors to your website, and possibly 20 of them will go ahead and click on your pricing page, and 5 of them will go ahead and fill up the demo form, and maybe 2 of them will actually show up in the call. So that's a funnel. And if you put all the buyers and the prospects into their journey and map it visually, is going to become a funnel, and that's what funnel is all about. So that's a marketing funnel in a traditional sense, but we want to talk about dark funnel. Okay, dark funnel is everything that happens in terms of things that happens outside of the funnel. Okay, so we talked about the fact that in a funnel, if somebody, there are 100 people visiting your website, then possibly 2 of them will actually become a customer, right? And then there will be a journey. But the journey starts with your own social media channels, with your own website, with your own assets in many ways. But there are huge amount of audience who needs your product and service, who are out there in the world, who are not visiting your sites, who are not visiting your social media channels, who is not calling you up, who is not sending you an email, right? What about those prospects? They are in dark, right? So dark funnel is basically an untrackable or pre-intent activity. That means there is a huge bunch of audience out there. They need your product and service. They are in dark about you, your company, or your product and service. And at the same time, you are in dark about their needs and their presence. And there is a funnel that you can build there as well. And that is what dark funnel is all about. I'm trying to give the answer in as simple language as possible without quickly going too technical, right? So the funnel doesn't actually start from a prospect visiting your ad, your landing page, your website, or giving you a call. That is not where the real journey of your prospect starts. It starts way beyond that, right? So the prospect starts their journey by doing a Google search, Quora reviews, Reddit threads, talking to their friends, putting a post on social media, right? Checking out your competitors, clipping about it in their social handles, or just asking for friends and family for the help. So before they even reach you, they have a certain journey that they do. And if you're lucky and if they find you, and if you find them, the funnel starts and you can start the conversation. But according to most of the standard industry standard reports, 70 to 80% of the people never find you and you'd never find them, okay, at the time of their need. And this is low in numbers. Some reports say that these numbers can go all the way up to 98% people, which I believe is true. That means 98% of the people, your prospect, if they have a need at that point of time, they are not aware of you and you are not aware of them. So that's pretty much dark, right? So buyer research in various ways. They ask peers, visit review sites, and engage in forums before trying to find you and start filling up the form. You are unaware of their intent until they interact with your visible chat, right? So their journey starts way before they interact with you in your visible chats. And the goal for today's businesses, B2B businesses in 2025, is to detect buyer not just when they fill up the form and contact us page, but way before that, so that you are able to reach out to them before your competitor does, right? And the process of building this entire journey, entire pipeline, is called the dark funnel, right? So let's move on. Let's see what's the next question. What really counts as a signal in dark funnel? Now, before I answer this question, let me give you a little context of signal behind the dark funnel. So there are prospects out there, anywhere between 80 to 98% of the prospect who have a need at that particular time, in real time, and they are in dark about you, you are in dark about them. So how do you know that they have a need? You need something, right? That something is signal. The prospect is giving out signal in the online world. Okay. And if you're able to catch the signal in real time, that means you will be able to track them, and you can create a process by which you can reach out to them in real time. So what really counts as a signal in dark funnel? There are so many different factors. Somebody posting on a social media that they need a digital marketing agency. Somebody just posting, they're going to LinkedIn profile and say, hey, you know what? We need a digital marketing agency. My friends, if you know any good agency, please help. That's a signal, right? A company posting a job, we need a network engineer. And they post a job in Indeed and LinkedIn and other places and in their company career pages. That's a signal. That means they have a need. They need an engineer, right? And if you are a network engineer, you can apply for the job, or if you're a manpower provider, you can reach out to that company saying that, hey, we are an HR recruitment agency. We can help you find this particular person. That's a signal, right? There are so many other signals. For example, a funding raise, right? Company had a merger and acquisition. They raised a funding, or they bought Salesforce or SAP or HubSpot as a software. That's a signal, social listening, social signal. They are looking for your competitors. That's a signal. Maybe they are even visiting your website or social media channels, but you are unaware of them. They are not filling up your contact us form. So you are in dark about them. That's a signal. So I can go on and on as to what really counts as a signal. There are so many different signal points that you can measure. It really depends on what your business is and what kind of signal really means a real signal for your fund, right? So the signal should include some form of a readiness and psychographic indicators. Yes, that's right. So that means if somebody is talking about they want a digital marketing agency in their LinkedIn profile, that's a real good signal with a high intent, right? If somebody is going and posting it on Reddit, their need, their problem, that's a real good intent. of a high signal. Okay. Uh, if somebody is going and checking out a G2 profile and they are comparing you with your competitors, that's a real good signal. You need that signal in real time so that you can reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, we are better than our competitors. So if you're checking it out, I'll give you a better comparison between me and my competitors, and you see we are so much better than our competitors. So there are different levels of signals. There's some signals are more important than other signals. If somebody comes and just reads your blog and leave, that's not a very good signal. But if somebody comes and checks out your pricing page, that's a very good signal, right? So signal, not all signals are equal, and you have to really see what really counts as an intent. Right? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the dark funnel, the signal, and the intent, in this webinar going forward. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so I think this is we talked about. So we'll talk about the relevance and the signal, the signal and the intent in the coming days. I think I've covered most of it, so I'm not going to repeat that. All right, so let's go on to the next one. How can we uncover buyer activity on untrackable platform like Slack or Reddit? Okay, when tools like Google Analytics and HubSpot show no data, what can we actually look for? Okay, that's a good question. How can we uncover the buyer activity on untrackable platforms like Slack or Reddit? Okay, even though I do not believe anymore that any channel is untrackable, we can always scrape the data, but that's another topic for some other day. So tools like Google Analytics and HubSpot also sometimes do not show data. So what to do that? Okay, traditional tools like GA4, Google Analytics, will give you behavioral and visitor information. They will tell you, hey, your website has 100 visitors and they are checking on these things, but they will not give you more information about those visitors. For example, they will not tell you which company they work for or what their email address is. They are not going to do that. They will just give high-level information, and that's a very important information. For example, there are 100 visitors on your website and 20 of them is checking out your pricing page. That's a good information from the analytics point of view, from the web analytics point of view, even from the product analytics point of view. But that information is good to give it to data science team and to take business decision. Those are not actionable information that your sales team can take and then do something immediately. Obviously, if you're doing a quarterly review, that information is very important. That 20% of the visitors are checking out your pricing page. That's good. So it needs to increase to 25% in the next quarter. You can always take that decision. But that information is not going to help sales team. What do you say? Reach out to more people. Okay. So you need more than just a traditional web analytics or product analytics tool, right? Nowadays, we can build AI agents that can scrape Reddit, Slack, Discord in real time using keywords. We can do social listening for Facebook and LinkedIn. And you can actually use AI agents and scraping tools together to scrape the channels which are not very easy to track, like Reddit. You can scrape it. Earlier, I remember we used to do it manually. It takes a lot of time. Even job boards, for example, earlier we used to manually scrape the job boards, LinkedIn and Indeed and other things, finding all the information, putting it into spreadsheet and all of that. All of that can be done using AI agents. And you can cross-reference there, right? So you can use agentic solution, scraping, put all the information on there, and then based on the information, you can actually find more information around users using tools like ZoomInfo and 6sense and Clearbit. You can find more information about those particular users as well. So still there are channels which are not very easy to track, but now we have scraping and AI agentic solution you can put out. On top of that, there is a lot of data now available on platforms like Factors and 6sense and Clearbit, and you can call out those platforms, pass this data and find out more information about those those data as well. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more on that. Let's move on to the next one. A real world example where a dark funnel signal helped close a deal. How did the signal help to engage earlier or move faster? Okay, that's a very good question. There's a bunch of real world example. I can go on and on that, but I'll give you one, which is there. I already talked about the job posting signal, right? So if you are a recruitment agency or a manpower service provider or HR recruitment firm, or even a job seeker, it's applicable to all of them, and you are trying to help companies find the right prospect. For example, if you are a CTO recruitment agency, right, and you provide companies with C-level hiring, CTO, CEO, and all of that. In that case, what is the best signal for you? Best signal for you is company actually posting that particular job. So if the company is posting a job, hey, I want a CTO, that's a great signal. Okay, and if you can track it in real time, and that's where the keyword is. The real keyword in the whole discussion of dark funnel is real time. So if a company is posting a job for CTO and you are aware of it only after 6 months, then possibly that opportunity is already gone. So imagine a company posting a job of CTO and you getting to know immediately in real time. Earlier, it was very difficult. As I said, you have to scrape that information. You have to put virtual agents to continuously look at the job boards, all different job boards and all different places. And then, the moment they see this signal, they will just update a spreadsheet and stuff like those. You don't have to do that. You can build AI agents, you can call up the APIs, and you can build it very fast in today's world. So that's a real use case, right? If a company is posting a job for CTO, you are a manpower agency, you track that particular signal. Okay, you create a orchestration, you reach out to those companies who are posting the job. Maybe you're sending an email or you're doing a LinkedIn outreach, and then you basically create a funnel. So for example, if there are 20 companies posting that job on that particular day, you reach out to 20 companies, you send an email, you send a LinkedIn message, you maybe even call them. And then out of the 20, maybe 5 of them responds to you. They say, yes, we need that. So that's kind of a funnel. Okay, and 10 of them, they are visiting your site just to check you out, but they never said yes. So out of 20 total prospect, 10 of them visited your site, so you can track them as well. 5 of them, they said, okay, fine, they need help. 2 of them actually showed up in the actual demo. Good, you've created a funnel. In fact, you have created a dark funnel, right? So real-time job signal, multi-signal funnel orchestration, like website visitors and other signals, and also stuff like AI voice agent for cold calling and all of that, right? So the possibilities are endless when it comes to signal orchestration, identifying the signals, and we are going to have separate webinars just on these topics, on these specific use cases. Okay. All right, let's move on. Okay, so next one. Can platforms like HubSpot or Google Analytics track dark funnel signals without expensive add-ons? What are the limitations? That's a very good question. Platforms like HubSpot now can track, thanks to the fact that HubSpot has acquired Clearbit, which is a data provider. Okay. Google Analytics cannot track personal level or company level information. That means Google Analytics will give you the fact that somebody is there on your website, but Google Analytics will not give you that information that who that somebody is. What's the email address? What's the name? What company do they work? That information is not something that Google Analytics will give. That information traditionally HubSpot was also not giving, but now HubSpot has launched a platform called Breeze Intelligence, and they have recently acquired Clearbit, which is the data provider. So now they are able to give a lot more information. Possibly that's another webinar altogether. But yes, HubSpot can provide you today in 2025. Google Analytics cannot provide you even today. Okay. So the idea is that many of these platforms, they can track the behavior, but not the identity. So identity reveal is another animal altogether. Okay. One is somebody is there on your website. The other is what is the identity of that person or the company or some person from that particular company visiting your website. These two are two different things. Okay. The web, Google Analytics can tell you, hey, you know what, right now there is somebody there on the website. Good information, but it will not give you who that person is or which company that person works for. So identity level data needs to be mapped. Okay, and there are companies who provide this particular data like Sixsense and Clearbit and others. Okay, there are data providers out there, but you have to implement those as a track. Newer AI solutions can bridge some gap, but traditional tools can't fully replace identity-based API platforms. That's correct. Okay, with AI and with identity tracking and the traditional analytics, put all these three things together and magic happens. Okay, so yes, partially you can do that, but in order to understand fully about your prospect, you have to also reveal their identity. There are platforms who can provide you that data as well. Okay, what is the difference between traffic spike and real buying intent? How can we tell if a spike in traffic means something or nothing? All right, very good. So suddenly there's a traffic spike, and suddenly there is a lot of traffic on your website or your e-commerce app. That does it mean real buying intent? The answer is yes and no. Okay. So a lot of traffic, sometimes the traffic spike may be because of a trend. Something has become viral, and you are associated with that viral content, in terms of product or service, then possibly a lot of people are checking that out. Doesn't mean that they are ready to buy. Maybe they are just checking things out, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, there are a lot of bots nowadays. So maybe there's just a bunch of bots visiting your sites. That can also be a reason, and doesn't mean that they are real people or they have a buying signal. It can be seasonal. For example, if you are an e-commerce store and you're selling Christmas items and Christmas is around the corner, so suddenly there's a huge spike which is related to season. Okay, and that can be, of course, very relevant. So you've got to really analyze the source of the spike. Okay, whether it is something viral or seasonal or news, please do the bot filtering and combine the spike data with other signals. For example, your traffic suddenly got from 50,000 visitors to 80,000 visitors. But does that really mean increased number of book demo? That is something that you need to connect as a start, right? If there are more goals that are being fulfilled, then possibly there is an intent. If there is just a spike, then you need to really analyze and see, whether the intent is there. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Thank you so much. This was part 2 of the video. I hope that you enjoyed the session. This was a quick rapid fire Q&A session in which I tried to answer some of the questions which are there in Quoras and Reddits and other places. In the coming weeks, I'm going to continue answering some more questions. So just stay tuned. Please subscribe to our channel. We totally believe in value delivery, and as much as possible, this particular channel is dedicated towards educating you to become a better B2B sales rep. Right? Thank you so much for your time. I'll see you in the next one.